allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, for being here. Our board has adopted policy and procedure 1400, meeting conduct, order of business, and form, which are available on the district website. This policy ensures that all meetings are conducted in a civil, orderly, and business-like manner. Whether you're a board member, staff, student, or guest, we all follow the same standards of civility during these meetings. Starting July 1st, 2024, all regular board meetings are audio and video recorded and available on the district website in compliance with RCW 4230-070. These recordings, which include board comments and public testimony, will be kept will be kept for at least 1 year. Public comment is required at regular meetings with final actions as defined by RCW 4230-20 is taken. We value public participation, and each regular board meeting includes a public comment period as required by the Open Public Meeting Act. Comments can be made verbally or in writing. Written comments must be submitted at least 24 hours before the meeting and must follow the board standards of civility. Public comment is limited to 30 minutes, with each speaker allotted 3 minutes. You cannot donate time to another speaker or speak more than once per meeting, even if time remains. This period is for the board to listen, not to engage in dialogue. The board will not respond to comments, questions, or challenges during the comment period. The silence should not be interpreted as agreement or disagreement. However, the board chair may ask for clarifications, and district staff may follow up with individuals after the meeting. Be mindful of the impact of your words. Each speaker is responsible for their own statements, not the district. Certain remarks could violate privacy laws or be considered defamatory. If you're unsure about the legal implications of your comments, we recommend seeking legal advice. In closing, we ask that everyone help us model for our students what a respectful and inclusive community looks and sounds like. Thank you for being here and for your contributions. So we are going to start today's meeting with executive session, which will take 3 to 5 minutes, where we're going to review Arthur Sanchez's application for appointment for the open District 1 position, and then we will reconvene and ask Arthur a few questions.
Okay.
Front and center. Okay. Is everyone back?
Yep.
Okay, so just 2 very simple questions. What is your understanding of the role of the school board?
Well, just from the last meeting I was in and listening to what you read, it's just sitting here listening to what the community has to say, making decisions on certain things, and basically just listening to what everybody else has to say and then making decisions.
And the second one, this is a little bit more fun, but it's more hypothetical. If you had a magic wand, where would you like to see the district in 5 years?
Let's see. First of all, I'd like a brand new football field with grass. I want my kid right now. I want my kid having a lot of friends, which I want like more kids in the community. I want our football program to grow rather than be down in the 8-man level. I like the 11-man level, so I want more kids attending this community so we can do that and like grow our sports programs, which right now it's growing because we got a lot of kids and youth sports, which a couple years ago it was hard. So for sports wise, that's my thing, and more kids in the community.
Comments?
No.
No public
No.
comments. Okay.
Okay.
I'm kicking
Okay.
everyone out again, so we're going
Okay.
to go into executive session number 2. So we
Okay.
can
Well, we should say, have you changed your mind about?
No, don't ask me
Yeah,
that. I'm good.
Well, no. So after discussion, I need a motion to appoint Arthur Sanchez to the open District 1 position on the school board.
Yes, to district position number 1. of the school board.
Yes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Arthur, you are now officially appointed to the school board.
Not until he does the oath.
Well, he's appointed, but he has.
Oh, yes,
Yes.
yes.
So now Carrie will swear you in. Ready? Get popular.
Yeah, so fun.
So you have a copy too. So I say it and then he has to say it?
Yeah, well, or you just do a few words and then he'll repeat.
Oh, okay. All right, so
Kind of like a.
repeat after me, yes. I, your name, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I, Arthur Sanchez, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Washington, and will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Board Director of Concrete School District Number 11. That was a lot, I'm sorry.
the Constitution of the State of Washington and faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Board Director of Concrete School District Number 11.
Director District, Position 1, according to the best of my ability.
Director District Position 1 according to the best of my ability.
Welcome.
That part here, scrap
Now
that.
you can sit up
Now
there.
have a seat.
You're a voting member.
Thank you. Yeah, really.
There's your homework.
Okay, now we'll continue with the rest of the meeting.
Mhm.
So first thing on the agenda is approval of the regular school board meeting minutes for Thursday, October 31st, 2024. Do I have a motion to approve the regular school board meeting minutes for Thursday, October 31st?
A motion, we approve the regular school board meeting Thursday, October 31st, 2024.
Okay, all in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Next will be approval of the consent agenda.
Question.
Yeah, go ahead.
A little questions. Because we have these revised policies, that's it, and so I just quickly scanned through them. The overdosal related, opioid-related overdose reversal, 3424, do we have the Roxanne?
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say, I remember when we
Multiple
I
staff.
I remember approving it, but.
Yeah.
I'm sure we all approved. And then volunteer and the employment and volunteer disclosure certification. Assurances and approval revised.
Yes, this is, unfortunately, at this point, the volunteer does. There have been discussions about, well, that's not fair if they're going to mountain school, and we're also saying you have to take time off work and pay for a background check. I think the PTO has paid for a few sometimes, but, right now, it's the employee or the volunteer.
So does a parent have to, a parent would have to get the background check
If they are in a position to be alone.
If it's a day.
So somebody taking, stats at a football game, they don't need a background check.
We do all that stuff in youth sports. We get background checks for people that are gonna be on the field and with the kids, next to the kids.
Yeah.
And they have to take.
It's a difference.
Yeah, it's fingerprints are $85. If you're just volunteering or doing day field trips, you just do the volunteer application, and then I or one of the secretary, well, Lori can do the background check online.
And the difference is the Washington State Patrol is Washington background checks are national.
The FBI, the fingerprints, yeah.
Those are my questions.
So do I have a motion for approval of the consent agenda? All in favor say aye. All opposed? Consent agenda is approved.
So just information point for those, I think you heard us. Normally, usually we would have a Monday meeting and we put.
Talk about them a little bit more. But we don't have a workshop this month, so basically, it's all business.
And then straightforward stuff. Okay.
get it ahead of time?
Yeah, I was gonna say, are we,
Friday ahead of time?
yeah, usually, right. And then I assume we're gonna be getting Arthur a Chromebook. as well.
Yeah. Nathaniel hasn't been here, so I'll
Okay.
talk to him tomorrow about that.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
folks in the audience, I don't know how many people know that they can, anybody can check out what's gonna happen.
Mhm.
Yeah, those are, right, the Friday before the meeting? Is that-
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
So, okay, well, the news we've all been waiting for, the close of 23-24 school year. So this is where we ended up with. So you can see it at the very bottom here. I guess that's the worst thing about the plug-in. So we ended up at $2,506,592. You can see at the top, the beginning unassigned fund balance, which we've talked about, you know, like Carrie's mentioned too, like how certain money that we do have has to be spent on certain things. So, we have our unassigned minimum fund balance policy, which would consist of $608,796. And then we had some lap carryover, $8,176, and down, the transportation, or transitional kindergarten carryover, $21,408. Our prepaid items for 425, $56,690, and then our beginning reserve for inventory, and this is regarding food service, and this is due to what's on the shelves, basically. So 22,774, and carryover food service revenue, which is supporting the farm to school. We didn't use that last year, and this is the last year of that, so it's basically the end of the COVID money. So, we didn't, she wanted to carry that over due to the skills grant that we have, and we're trying to buy, more local meat, vegetables, that kind of stuff. So, but the skills grant doesn't have that funding for the food, so we carry that over. As far as the ASB fund balance goes, we have, fund balance. So you'll see on the left-hand side of the column is the budget amount, and then to the right is the actual, so, which I think ended up pretty well. Our expenditures were $4,046 more than our revenue, so that's bringing down our actual balance, our actual fund balance to $85,886. And there are some funds in there that we don't use, that some of those programs are there, so they're kind of a placeholder, but we're going to do that. And we do not have debt service, so I think that's been zero for years, so thank goodness for that. And then as far as our capital funds project, our total revenue was $181,412, and then our expenditures were $207,822. And basically everything was covered besides the $26,470 for that playground, the chips and stuff like that, but everything else was grant covered, so our expenditures were a little higher than our revenue there, bringing down our ending fund balance to $880,521. And transportation vehicle fund. So this was, you know, we had that accident this year.
Last year.
Last year, but this is all for last year, sorry.
Oh,
So the revenues were a little higher than you can see what was budgeted at 132, which we can always go over on revenues, we just can't go over on expenditures. And so we received in June $216,532 for the bus from our insurance. And we have not replaced the bus, we talked to Paul today. And so one is on order, but it hasn't been placed and there hasn't been a purchase order for it, but it takes like a year, so they have to order it and then you have to wait. So, I think the goal was to buy a bus and our expenditures would have been up, but with that and, receiving the investment interest from the county where it ended up $1,105.
And just real quick.
Yep.
So we already were on track to buy a bus this year because we have a plan for purchasing buses, but because of the accident, that made basically 2 buses this year, kind of. But but the one from the accident was ordered, and it will take, it's,
They're
Nothing
layered,
is
so
ever
they're still
just-
gonna be a year
nothing is
apart.
ever like this nice, everything's wrapped up in 6 months. We always are tracking like a year into the future, and people are saying, what happened to that bus accident? Well, yeah, it's gonna take a
But
year.
we are going to make sure to do a purchase order before we purchase it, so
Yeah.
we have to clarify that. So this is just the history of the Concrete School District fund balance, and you can see it has remained pretty steady from pretty much, let's say, 1920 to 23, 24, and so we're just kind of holding tight there. And then this is, like I said, I would show this bar graph of just the ups and downs. I mean, once again, this is why we have to have a fund balance with a small school and not having any other funding sources, just in case an emergency happens. So, like I said, we're at two. There's our ups and downs. So we started out low, and then, so at this point, we did, you can see, oops, let me go back up a little bit. So our use of the fund balance altogether, you know, we started out with a negative 459, and we ended up with a 26,768. So it's actually that should be a black number, not a red number. And then we'll go on just the sources of revenue. You guys have a bigger sheet of this, but if you wanted to know the breakdown, I added that in after the fact. So the local taxes, and then like our revenue for this year was $12,202,694, and this is the breakdown of how we come up with that. And then our expenditures were $12,175,925. So, like I said, that should have been a positive number on the sheet. And this is just a bigger version of our funding revenue sources.
Can you just stay there for a second?
Yep. Oh, sorry. Our expenditures. Our contracted services is higher, which we've mentioned numerous times of how we do. Speech, OT, and so.
And last year we contracted for the behavior analyst, which this year is a employee
Yes.
position.
Mhm. So, does
And
anybody
so-
have any questions on this? Yeah.
Okay, so the question is, my
Okay.
question is,
Okay.
I know that, you know,
Yep.
we're now, there's encumbrances on that. So was that 588 unassigned minimum fund balance? What, how
Okay,
much-
so you have to look kind
yeah.
So really, that is how the year began, and this is how it ended. So if you add up all the totals and column what we moved forward to 24, 25, and how we ended 23, 24, that all adds up to 2,506,000. If you start with the 1 million at the top, the beginning unassigned fund balance, and add all those together, it comes up.
But I think the other part of this is, it's not like, woo-hoo, we have 2.5 million to spend.
We really only have 1.764,223. And a lot of the revenue that will be coming in this year will be grant related too, that will be very specific.
So, but that we do have then. We're supposed to keep like 600,000?
That's a 608,796.
So it does look like. I'm hearing a lot of rumblings about
Oh, yeah.
concerns about the school. How much of that can we spend? Like what is well above the 6%. We don't want to give into the 6%.
It's
Because
5%.
I'm asking this because I'm gonna get asked this.
Sure,
you
sure.
know.
Yeah, no.
And I really am not. So, in the face of some real challenging situations, some shortages of personnel and some kids that.
Yeah, we are, we have a para position open right now that no one's applied for, and we are gonna post for another special ed teacher for the elementary. And we're looking, Paul's getting quotes next week for some structural changes to some of the rooms.
Right. Want to keep a healthy balance.
Oh,
those
yeah.
that
No,
want to
absolutely.
spend if we got it.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll switch over to what's currently happening now.
So,
This-
so
we're not
for
gonna
the last school year, like, that's all been submitted to the state, right?
Mhm,
And
yeah, it's
so
all
we're
been
just
cleared through the
done.
ES.
Closed.
Yeah, it's all been cleared through the ESD.
Nice.
And it's
Good
all
work.
been-
Thank you
thanks.
for doing
So,
that. You did it.
you know, enrollment, you can kind of see where we're at, 480.44 for the month of November. 29 TKers, which are not factored into the K-12, which I'll probably say every month. And then for Running Start, we are above what we budgeted for at 8.52. And we have a new, I should say administrative assistant at Open Doors, so I bought a ticket. And so we did, meeting with OSBI and everything else. So they were thinking that we only had 4 for October, but we actually have 8 in Open Doors. So we're getting closer to our budget of 10. So we're just hoping to hang tight. So we've already lost 4 from the previous month, but I think it's in the spring to the end of graduation that we see the numbers really. Like we started out really strong last year as well. So then we'll go to October of 24-25 financials. Oh, you guys are before you. So we'll start with payroll comparison. And so for the month of October, we're at $795,174, which happens to be a little higher from last October, 23-24 of $3,000. Three-year average, we're up $2,000. So for 24-25, it kind of gets hidden in here, but we are the gray bar. So we're right there, if that helps. To our revenue and our expenditures. October, so our total revenue was $1,314,782. And like I said, that's due to a lot of property taxes, so it's a higher month. And then our expenditures were $995,150. Break it down of how we received the money, same totals. We are at 18.06% of our budgeted revenue, expenditure, what we're expecting, and I can put this down. So far, we're $240,000 above what was budgeted. You can see the little graph, which I know Terry doesn't like these little graphs because it kind of looks convoluted and they kind of get lost in there, but there's our budget amount in the blue. Ooh. And then the candy cane stripe is our actual. And then going down to our expenditures, we're at 17.49% of our budget expenditures.
expenses?
So last month we were 154,448 over what we had budgeted for. And this month we're a little under, which brings our year-to-date total down to 89,478. So,
Is that anything to do with not being able to do the grant claims?
future side,
Yeah.
so, no.
I think because of the AC, didn't a bunch of those invoices have to wait until,
That's all capital.
oh,
And actually, we were able to grant in that, so that'll come in November.
okay.
Apportionment, and we'll see that underneath the capital part. That's a whole, the 1.2 million for the elementary, separate. Okay, perfect. And so for ASB, for the month of October 24-25, the total revenue was 9,035, with our expenditures being 6,124. So that's good, and I think a lot of that was due to the big football game and different, so that really affects our ticket sales and stuff. And so our expenditures will be a little higher next month because we have the officials for that, so we're still at a negative 97,842. Last month we used the 417,474. So at this current time, our ending fund balance, 2,408,750. So this will fill up over the month. We have our budget status report, which we'll go back over, which is just every show here.
I think it's important for the board to know, because of our switch from Skyward to cumulative, in past years, we can keep doing purchases in July and August on certain grants, but because of the switch from Skyward to cumulative, where we go dark in July, we have to have all purchases done and received by the end of June.
Yeah, so with that being said, and that's true, we will either need to close the POs or roll them over. So if we have like something hanging out there that we can't receive, because we can receive up until August 31st, we'll have to start, we'll close it out, have July go dark, and then August we have to reopen that and hurry up and get it.
And that'll be
Yeah,
a little
so-
consistent.
Yeah, this
so-
whole, the student side of cumulative is gonna be a real chore. I mean, I ran some reports today and we had like just pages of cleanup, so, we're going to get there.
But
It's-
my point of that is that
Yes.
we should see higher expenditures in June than we normally would, because we're gonna try to
Yeah,
get things done.
and get those grant things, which OSSI will be a little harder because we were hoping we would have till the end of August this year. This would be the first year, that's the one of the grants that Ms. Gallagher has at the elementary, the OSSI, and we always have to have the expenditures done by June, and this year we could actually go to August, and now we're
We're
gonna
gonna
pull this. We can't do it. Oh, darn, so that's that, so. Okay, thank you. You're welcome.
Jordan is not.
But I can read her report. Okay, Jordan Law is our student board representative, so she says, for sports, all fall sports have ended, and now winter sports are starting. Girls' basketball meeting is on 11/14/24 during lunch. They had 26 girls registered. Like, that's
excellent.
yeah, that's amazing. Boys' team is a little slim, so we're fingers crossed, and wrestling also had quite the turnout. 19?
Good.
Great.
Excellent.
So girls and boys basketball, practices all started on Monday the 18th. And then middle school boys basketball has started going well. I think they're in week 4 of boys basketball. So approved during our general meeting, the cheerleader representative came to us wondering if we had approved the fundraiser they wanted to do as of right now, we have not gotten the paper and signed it. No other classes contacted us about a fundraiser. The senior class has been wondering if they are allowed to decorate for winter Christmas.
Don't look at me.
I have opinions, but anyway, I know I'm on record. I don't care if you decorate, but if you could just take it down before winter break, that'd be great. Because we come back in January and all the stuff is still up. Okay, I'm going off script. Okay, what's happening in the high school? The Veterans Day Assembly was a success. 5th and 6th graders passed out the letters and questions. The kindergartners performed the Grand Old Flag song, and the high school band performed the national anthem. Once a month, Ms. Henderson has started spotting out students, but every grade level, every month the habit changes. So we're doing the Leader in Me 7 Habits, which has been at the elementary for years. Now we're really, it's 3 years now at the high school. I think this is 3rd year, and we're emphasizing a different habit each month. And so then Mrs. Henderson is saying to teachers, hey, who do you nominate of your students in each grade that are exemplifying this habit that we're focused on? The conferences are happening next Monday, the 25th, from 4 to 7 p.m., parent-teacher conferences, and Tuesday, November 26th, from 8 to noon. At the high school, it's a stadium style, so parents come in, just drop in, walk around, hopefully with their student, to see teachers and talk about grades, are they on track for graduation, any other questions. And then we get a waiver, so it's a 3-year waiver that allows us in our 180 required days to say we're gonna use 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of those days for conferences. So we have that waiver for 4 days this year. So 2 fall conference days, 2 spring conference days, but students' attendance is dependent on whether they attend conference. Yeah, so if a student and parent don't attend a conference, they miss 2 days of attendance. You see the attendance line, but that's how it works. We're allowed to waive it as long as we show there's some activity that they are engaged in for those days.
Okay, Carrie, guess what? You're up again.
Okay. We talked about discipline last month, and I showed the numbers, and that the 7th and 10th grade were the high referrals, and twice as many girls as guys were getting referrals. Some light that is coming to that is some students are taking responsibility for either reporting things that are happening, or literally like getting me the vapes that are being stashed places and bringing them to the office. Like, these aren't my vapes, but you know, I don't want my friends vaping either. Or I had 2 boys point out that apple was smashed in the boys' bathroom the other day, and I was like, well, could you clean it up? Well, I don't want to clean it up, but they did it. It wasn't them that smashed it, but yeah, there's just, Sally and I were just talking, it's not a lot of students, but these 15 students are causing quite a bit of problems, and it's not that we don't search their backpacks or call their parents or have them do lunch detention. It's like somehow I can't catch them. I can't catch them with the vapes, or I can't, even though they're on camera with the same group every time with the vape sensors going off. But you know, so it's a problem. We have the what's it called, the drug and alcohol prevention groups, the vaping prevention groups. They attend those, but I appreciate when I call parents, and then the parents actually have a conversation with their student, and then the student's behavior changes the next week. And I have parents that are like, you can't give my kid lunch detention. I refuse to have them do lunch detention. So it's gonna have to be, we don't want it to be where the adults at the school are seen as, they're always out to get me. Oh, that Miss Crickmore, she's pulling me out of class all the time. I mean, it makes their already negative impression of the school even more negative. Therefore, why should they care, right? And so we have to figure something out. So Sally and I were talking about maybe we do teen court, or we do restorative justice circles where it's peer on peer with an adult facilitating versus just doing discipline all the time. So we will be having more and more conversation about it, but I am, like I said, pleased to see some students really starting to step up and recognizing they don't want their school being trashed and making some effort. And I will say, we're talking a very small percent, because by far the majority of students are following the behavior expectations, working hard, so. Any questions?
How about the, I was, when we were talking to our new, away from Skyward, how was that going? I heard Lisa mention that there's, as far as the student stuff, we're way behind.
Let's say the positive.
Yes,
The positive is the business side is,
oh yeah, we're making headway, but the student side is just really convoluted. And there's just so many layers, and there's just been so many, the curriculum, like, yeah. Just how things are tied together. I mean, when you're running a report and, you know, we're on a lot of Zooms, and, it just is years and years of like say, Barbara, the name Barbara being spelled like B-A-R-B-R-A, and then B-A-R, like, so we'll have multiple, like, and like, I'll use last name Smith. You know, we know it's the same Barbara Smith, but there's 5 things, and all that has to be merged, and it has to be all cleaned up. And so, having different, you know, people thinking that this is the way we should do it, and not having a lot of, maybe direction, that's the best, it has created some efficiencies in the system.
Are we getting help?
Oh, well, we have, so,
I'm looking for.
Julie signed up to do everything, but we noticed that she's a little too busy, so. I have just became the new PBC administrator, and,
professional development.
but everything, all of the emails are going to her, so I'm a little out of the loop, so I'll get caught up. And then we have Amy Morley that we're, working with, and she is kind of our lead to just keep on pushing, and then Deanna has been working behind the scenes, and I'm not kidding you, I mean, we're talking like 90-page reports of just one thing. And we're probably like 100 of those, so it's time consuming.
Well,
I
and,
think we're on H in the alphabet.
yeah, and
We're talking left.
each Thursday night, our data pushes, Skyward is our student learning management system, and Thursday night, our data pushes to the state, and then you can look in the state database called CEDARS for our errors, and we always, well, we had like 4,000 errors from last year that first had to get cleaned up. I think we're down to 1,000.
Oh, I think we're down to like 312.
Ooh, that's good.
Last I looked.
Okay.
That was for last year.
That's
Now we're
last
on
year.
this year.
Now, this year. So one of the things, part of this, so, Arthur, Skyward, the product is going away. So we don't have a choice. We have to convert to the new product, which is called Cumulative. It has been, like our educational service district converted 6 years ago. So they have to, every district in Washington State on Skyward has to convert, and it's like a 10-year cycle. So we're hopping on because Linda
We
and
kinda
Shirley
got
are retiring
Yeah.
with some key parts, and it doesn't make sense to hire new people, train them on an old system, and then have them go through this cleanup without any background. So they pushed us in, it's usually a 2-year conversion, we're doing it in 1 year. Because,
That's what I was gonna mention.
yeah, so it's a lot, and we let all staff know, hey, Lisa, Linda, Shirley, who am I missing? Nathaniel.
Yes.
Who normally might be open to like taking calls and helping, it's like, don't call them. They have basically a whole nother job going on right now to get the conversion going. But part of this is also discussing moving forward, how can we not have errors like this? Do we need to change responsibilities at the building levels so we don't have so many hands in the pot that can just create more errors when we have the new system, so. Looking at the positive, but yeah, the student side is,
It's pretty mammoth.
yeah.
Oh, we tried to, actually, the school district tried to, we were supposed to be one of the first people to go, like with the piloting of it. And we didn't get our data. I mean, I thought as a building secretary, we were going to go do this a long time ago. And we just, the manpower wasn't there to get there. And so and like I said, we're doing it in half the amount of time. And we're going with Snohomish. So we're gonna go black at the same time Snohomish. Well, they've already been working on it here, so like Nathaniel will say, you know, they've been having these meetings for a year, and he's like, where are we at? Because it's like, they're talking Greek to me, and now I'm in that PDC role, and that they're talking Greek to me, so we're gonna get there. Monday's another day. Monday, we meet on Mondays.
And when you say it was a manpower shortage, I think, oh, well, lucky we got all those extra people now.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
We're gonna get through it.
yes,
But I think
yes.
it will be what they wanted Skyward as a user in the system for quite some time. I'm going through probably 4 different systems. This is what they wanted Skyward to look like, and it just wasn't functioning at that level. So this hopefully will be more intuitive and stuff. But I mean, we're talking all of our pay codes are switching for payroll. I mean, we're working on a lot of different things right now. So.
Back to our agenda. So no recognition this evening. I need a motion for approval of the final reading of policy 2409, world language mastery based.
I will move that. Based credit.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We also need approval for the final reading of policy 3206, pregnant and parenting students.
I move with final reading of policy number 3206, pregnant and parenting students.
All in favor, say aye. Also, we need approval of the final reading of policy 5012, parental, family, or marital status and pregnancy or related conditions of staff.
Status and pregnancy or related conditions of staff.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
She was yawning first.
Oh.
No, I'm sorry.
I caught it.
New business, the only new business we have this evening is, approval of resolution to invest 1492 and 1490. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. No public comment on non-agenda items either? Okay, and our next meeting will be December 19th, 2024, 6 o'clock.